So in today's video, I'm going to be working up a really quick, fun pattern. It's a Vila Rosa. It's called Charlie. It is by Trisha Lynn Maloney of Orphan Quilt Designs. So it uses a panel. It does give you a size to cut it down to, but I want to say it's going to be your average size panel. And then it's going to border. And then she looked like she used really fun, possibly scraps or maybe the charm pack that coordinates with her panel. I will be using the coordinating charm pack today for this super cute snowman. It is by, I love the mushrooms. I mean, oh, it's so cute. This is Woodland Snowman by Danielle Leon for Wilmington Prints. And then the coordinating charm pack, which from Wilmington Prints, it's actually called a 5-carat crystal. Each manufacturer has their own names for their own pre-cuts. I'm going with this tonal beigey creamy. It has the snowflakes, it has the dots. It's a fun one. This is going to be my border and border. What I'm going to do though, because I'm using the light, I'm going to take count of how many I actually need and then possibly remove the lightest ones. Like you just saw that. I'm going to remove these. I'm not going to use them because that is my border. And then I think there it is again. So in this charm pack, I already know I need to take out 4. The rest all look like they at least have some designs. I don't think it's going to take all of them. It might. And if it does, then I'll just go through my scraps to replace those 4. But, so first up is to trim the panel to what is instructed. And then add the first border as instructed. And then I'll go ahead and do these. I'm trying to see. 1 5-inch charm pack. Or make your own by using 6 fat 6ths and then subcut your own squares. It is saying 42. Okay, so I'll go ahead and count these and then I will go ahead and replace those 4 with some greens and reds out of my scrap bin because it is telling me that it's a 42 piece pack. And we will come back to the video after I start sewing some stuff up. I fibbed. I came back before the sewing was started. So upon reading the instructions and upon measuring out my panel, I do have to trim it down. I'm actually going to be losing this green background. The measurements I needed turned out to be the exact size of the red bordered panel. So I'm going to come in here with my longest ruler possible. I'm just going to go slow and steady. I'm not going to try to perfect that line all the way. I know we all do this differently. Some might even use scissors. Some might just go ahead and slice it on the fold. You never know. But I figured if I was going to be doing this step, why not show you how I'm doing it today? As you notice, I laid my ruler. And as you noticed, hopefully, before I pulled it, you could see some of the red sticking out. I am even down here in this right-hand corner with the previous cut. So I laid it as straight as possible up to that top right corner. And I'm just gently pulling the panel. Let's see. This would be the wrong way, right? I'm gently pulling the panel underneath this ruler just so that I can get that straight edge. I'm not pulling it hard. I'm not distorting it at all. I just want it to lay as straight as possible under the ruler. And let's see, I'm going to straighten it. I'm going to go even the ruler with this bottom right that I've already cut. And you can tell up here I'm off track. I'm going to slide my ruler to where I'm even. Check any of this. And then just go ahead and slightly adjust it so that when I do go and cut, I'm as straight as possible to that red. You can also notice it's 1 inch. The red itself is 1 inch. If I keep that 1 inch line on this side of the red, then I know I'm also straight here. If you're a visual and you need to follow the lines, that is a good way to do it. Doop. So I've gone ahead and pulled out those 4 charm pack squares that matched the borders and trimmed everybody down per instructions. And then I dug around just to find some replacements for those 4. And I'm really hoping that these blend in just enough that as it's spinning around the quilt, they won't be, you know, too noticeable. All right. So I did the grunge, the dot, and there it is, the other dot. My thinking behind those colors were found here in the panel. So the snowman had the orange. You know, there's the different browns from the arms and the leaves and the acorns. The different reds, there are the darker and the lighter. And there's also already the little dots and balls, again, here in the plants. So I figured with that one, well, it brought in the orange nose, it brought in the different reds, it has the dots and even the greens. Pictured here, you'll see the different greens. And then with this brownish maroonish one, it just had all the colors in it. And then the green was fun. That was already in my scrap bin. And same with the tan. I could even flip it, but it's a little dark that way. I like the gold and the light grungy texture. So I'm going to follow suit with cutting out now this first inner border as written. And then I'll go ahead and probably put the squares on the design wall. There are multiple. For example, there's 2 of those snowman. There's 2 of those snowflakes. There's 2 of those deer. I do not want them paired on one side. I do want to kind of balance them out. So after I get that first border cut, I'll go ahead and put the charm squares up on the wall. I'm starting to wonder if I should stop saying when I'll be back, because I keep popping in here before that step. I am cutting for the first inner borders. And I wanted to just point out, I don't know if you're a beginner, I don't know if you're experienced. We all learn this differently. And I am a firm believer in listening and watching and learning from everyone, and then kind of doing things the easiest way for me. So after measuring this space across the top and the bottom, I then cut my border to that size. I like to find the middle, which is here. It's already creased. I'm going to take the panel with that first round of borders added to it. I'm going to find that middle, just hand press it. Now I can take this border, lay it on that crease. I go ahead and pin that. I come to the far right. I line those up. I pin there. Repeat all the way to the far left. And then I have 2 more to go. I go from the center to that corner. Lay it nice and flat. Find that center. And I pin there. Some don't. Some do. Some pin more. Some pin less. I have found that this chunk of space is a little bit too long for my comfort zone. And so that is why I choose to pin halfway. It slows me down a little bit at the machine. It makes me focus a little bit more. I'm not stretching, I'm not pulling. And then for kicks, if you really, really wanted to, you could pin where that seam is. Or you could have pinned this whole thing from this side so that the seams are face up. In this case, I'm okay. I'll leave those seams down, but I will come in here just for some security and risking that being flipped over. Go ahead, pin that guy down. So the panel has been bordered the first time around. I am going to go ahead and split these charms up a little. See there, this one's even 4 times with the same print. And then after I, excuse me, after I get these split up, then I'll probably have to do like a shuffling game. Because I don't want them to be identical either. Like, I kind of wish the charm pack itself had more variety. Like, that was the same piece of fabric, but they cut 2 different images, which that's fine. That's great. It gives it a little bit more, it changes it. But these are, it's a lot of repetitive for my liking. I will be honest. I like it when it has just a handful more prints and colors. Maybe if I were to do this again, I would possibly buy some blenders from the collection to grow the change, because a lot of these are just print. But if I had some different reds and some different greens and some different browns from some blenders or texturals, tone on tones, then it would give me just a little bit more variety. So I'm gonna go ahead and head to the design wall, put up a couple here and there, and then I'll bring the camera over. So I was able to get the panel that was bordered once up onto the design wall. Then I took that first stack of separated charm squares and I offset them by 1. So I started on the right side with the white and then went to the left, skipped down 1 block, white, hopped over, green, green, red, red. Threw in some, you know, 1 of each of those weird random pieces that I had to add in. And I followed suit almost to the bottom, and you'll see where I ended with both on red, but they are still off count by 1. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the next pile. So I did keep the color placements, right? With the white, the green, the red, the white, the extra, the green, the red. And I'm okay with that because they'll never be across from each other, the 2 colors and the 2 designs, and I'm happy with it. I think that if I tried to mumble jumble it a little bit too much, I might just get more frustrated. So I will stitch the sides and then I'll just do the same effect to the top and the bottom. So the side squares have been added, and now I'm just laying out the top and the bottom. I did leave it up on the design wall. I pinned the quilt top, you know, in place, and laid out those blocks. It did use all 42, so I'm glad I was able to throw in 4 random extra guys. It's cute. It's a quick make, and I think that it's very beginner friendly as long as you pay attention to that first panel trimming. That might be the more, I don't know, I don't want to say difficult. It just takes a little bit more, you know, patience and time. But let me get those added on and then do the final border. So I am ready for my final border. I have my strips cut to the size that the pattern calls for. I do leave it folded. I do go ahead and just like bolt cut back to back. Then I'll come in and clean up the selvage. And then I do connect them diagonally. So it's kind of funny, but I envision them like a pair of legs at the sewing machine. That's one leg. And this is the second leg. And I'm going to sew them hip to hip, not through the crotch. I mean, right? So everyone does this differently. I know that sometimes people do it and then they get them crisscrossed because they'll sew here and then they get, you know, to the end and they realize that they have to unpick it. So just a fun little way that I've learned from a coworker. She's not there anymore. She went back home, but before she left, someone was really stuck on this spot, and I heard her say it, and it clicked. It made sense to me. So left leg, right leg. Let's pretend this is my sewing machine, right? This is my needle. I'm gonna sew it from hip to hip. Then I'm gonna do a 1/4 inch where I slice it off, and then let's pretend it's pieced already when we open it up, and there you go. So I'm gonna do that to all of my final border strips. Clean up the selvages and then diagonally connect them. I am very pleased with how this came out. It's super cute, super beginner friendly, and I could even see adding one more border in one of the coordinating prints. Thanks so much for watching. A like, a comment, a subscribe, and a share is always appreciated.